Hi everyone, my name is Lindsay Pulverenti and I am a business teacher at Raytown High School. And for this tool time presentation over online presence, I wanted to share with you Google Hangouts. Raytown High School, or the Raytown School District, is a Google school, and so we utilize Gmail and Google Drive and Google Classroom and all those other Google programs. And so whenever I thought about online presence, I thought, well, why not take a look at Google Hangouts and see what it can do for that online communication and being able to connect people together. I personally use Zoom. It's the program that I'm actually using to record this video right now. I use Zoom, honestly, on a weekly basis. I'm a direct sales consultant in addition to being a teacher. And so my team members and I will do weekly team calls on Zoom. And so I love that you can share screens, you can record. It's just a really easy program to utilize. So I've never used Google Hangouts other than maybe texting my husband or texting a teacher in the building. So I thought, well, let's take a look and see what it could do for my classes. So as you can see on the screen, I have the Google Hangout window pulled up here. I'm actually going to slide my video down to the bottom. So you just click on that Google Apps button, and then I had to go scroll down to more, and then I was able to locate that Hangout. So again, whatever account you're signed into, it will connect you to the Google Hangout. Notice how with Google Hangout you have your video call, a phone call, or a message. So your message obviously would just be like text message, or think Facebook chat. Phone call, obviously, if you're using the app on your phone, you could use it to make a connection within your Google Hangouts without having to have their phone number. And then you've got the video call option. So the other day I had my students, because I have never used this before, so I thought, let's see what's going to take place and see if we can get it to work with the students' accounts. And so you can see I actually started to set up a couple classes here to start those conversations. So like my J time, we have advisory. So it was actually during our advisory class that I was kind of going through this. And so you can create a new conversation, and then you go in. Sorry, I'm going to slide these menus over. I'm going to slide that down here too. So you have your conversation pulled up. You can go ahead and then start a video call. But again, you have to wait until other people join in on the call. So I thought, perfect, I'll go ahead, and I added some students' email addresses in there. I said, hey, check your email so that you can, connect with me in this Google Hangout to see if it's going to work. Unfortunately, at the Raytown School District, they do not allow students to use this chat feature. So at the time, I was really bummed because I thought, all right, now I can't have, an option if I wanted to, where, I could do maybe study sessions, or I'm not really sure how I could incorporate that necessarily with students. Maybe if, for whatever reason I was at home with my daughter who was sick and I needed to call into a class and be able to share information with them, that would be an option. But since my students can't access this, I thought, what can I do that still allows me to use Google Hangouts and my students benefit? And so one thing that I've always wanted to do is get more business people into the classroom. There's a wealth of knowledge out there that I would love for my students to hear from people in industry, but I can't get those guest speakers to come in and leave their jobs. And it's just a lot of, kind of the logistic nightmare per se of making that work. So I thought, okay, how could I use Google Hangouts to connect with them? And I think that what I would love to see happen is give people an opportunity to call into my classes, set up those virtual guest speakers, and then let them talk to the students about the careers that they're involved in. honestly, one of my cousins works for Huddle. He is good friends with Dave Graff, the founder and of Huddle. And so I thought, well, that would be really great for my computer students to kind of hear the background story of how Huddle came about, you know, kind of the whole like startup initiative, and then to see how successful Huddle has become over, you know, the last several years. And so, you know, that would be an option that I could do where, you know, Dave, who's in Omaha, we could, you know, just call up and, you know, do a Google Hangout for 15 or 20 minutes with one of my classes. So I'm really excited to potentially get something connected to do those online guest speakers with my students using Google Hangouts. I'm glad that I dove into the program to see how it actually works. Like I said, I was disappointed that the district has our student accounts blocked, but now I know. And honestly, if, you know, we start looking into it more, and I think that it could be beneficial for my students at some point to have access to this, then, you know, I can approach the district with possibly expanding or allowing the access for my students. So Google Hangouts, I'm going to go ahead and oh, so you can actually share your screen with Google Hangouts as well. So I'm going to leave that call and go back, you know, to the main screen. But again, you know, you just start a conversation, you invite people, you determine whether you want to do, you know, just your voice phone call, whether you want to do the chat messaging, or if you want to do kind of the Skype or video conferencing call. So that is Google Hangouts. You know, check it out, especially if you have a Gmail account. And you can kind of see too, you've got your app downloads, some additional settings in your contacts. So Google Hangouts, and that is my tool time for online presence.